I've returned.
What are Sons doing next? Well, we just finished up some really cool stuff. We had a South American tour that went very well. And I mean, we've been trying to get that thing done for 2 years and had to reschedule it 4 times. Our poor promoter kept having to reschedule, and all the people that bought tickets or even flights and everything to go to a tour that ends up getting canceled and moved or just all kinds of crap. So we finally got to do that, and it was wonderful. And then we went to Armenia, and there was a big astrophysics music festival there. And I was as happy as can be. Yes. Loved it. It was just great. And we played with Brian May and Serge from System of a Down, and I played with a children's choir, and I did this other thing with Simon Phillips and Derek Sherinian, the keyboardist of Sons, and Rick Fiorabracci, incredible bass player, and did this all the progressive stuff from Derek's past albums. These were his first. Oh, someone was there. I just saw it. My eye just caught it. I was in Armenia. It was sick. You played so well. Thank you so much. It's so funny because when you play shows, I don't know if this happens to you, but the worse I think I did, the better other people think I did. And the better I think I did, other people are not, right? What is it about that? Like, why does that happen? And it's not just me and it's not just you. Like, this happens. Like, you have, yeah, this opposite sense of it. Like, I feel like I played the worst I ever played in my life. But yeah. And then when I think I did okay, I was like, you stunk. So yeah, that's just how it is when you play. Yeah. You know
Yeah,
it. I know it.
been there too. Like, for example, if I'm on stage or something, I did absolutely terrible. Like, if I audibly hear notes, other people will be like, that solo was one of the best you've ever played.
I just tried something I think is going to work. I think the cutting out is because my mic is on. So if I mute myself when I'm not speaking, that should fix it.
Okay. Okay, that might actually work. I tried to turn mine on and off a couple times as well, so definitely let me know if I'm still cutting out. You sound crystal clear.
Good. I think we got it. So yeah, as for Sons, we don't have any new plans yet, but we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Yep, all your fans are staying tuned, but you have a bunch of endeavors, such as writing for music and television, which is so cool. What is the most interesting or unique piece that you've ever written for this industry, which is probably a hard question, and what show or series was it featured on?
Wow. My music has been in strange places, unexpected places. Oprah Winfrey, So You Think You Can Dance, Major League Baseball, NFL, a lot of stuff for WWE wrestling, Tom Brokaw, like all kinds of places. Yeah. Into wrestling?
I kind
No.
of, I don't really watch it in person, but it's like really big in my area, and I've like watched it on like live streams and stuff like that. But have I ever been to a wrestling match? No. Am I opposed? No.
Everything is more fun when you're there. It's definitely even more exciting, much more exciting. So where else? I was asked to do the theme song for the Osbournes on MTV. Did you just sneeze or was that a cough?
That was a cough.
Okay.
Cold going right now.
Okay. I might even have it somewhere. They asked me if I would do a song that sounded like a 70s sitcom, something like Laverne and Shirley, Happy Days kind of vibe, and I might have this somewhere. I came up with such silly words to it. All right, I'm going to search. Let's see, TV, video games, that metal show, radio. Okay, scrolling through New York Islanders, 2008-9 season.
Nice.
Where else? Did a bunch of indie horror movies.
That's amazing. You'll have to send me ones those are, because I will surely check.
All right, let me try. Let me just put in Osbourne's in. Let me see if it comes up. I should have this on
That's
here
really
somewhere. See if I can find it. There it is, Osbourne's. Okay. I know there was like this version of,
Hi, Argentina.
let's see.
Oh my God. That gives me do back.
Some weird version of Crazy Train there. And then, let's see, there was this one. This was the theme song that they didn't use. They ended up using, I think it was that dude Richard Cheese that would do these kind of lounge versions of different songs. And I think they used his version of something. Where is the full version? Okay.
Yeah,
But that one didn't make it.
it should have made it. That was energy right there.
But yeah, I've done a lot. God, so much music. I did one of the first video games that had actual audio in it. You know, everything was all 8-bit, just beeps and MIDI sounds and things like synth sounds. And when it first became like Sega CD video games, and one of those I did, this weird game, this was in 1995. It was called Wild Woody, and it was about about a pencil that would like draw and as a racer to like erase bad guys and would go through all these weird things. It was the most weird game.
I'd play it.
It was a weird one.
I kind of want it. It's like vintage. It's probably like, yeah.
Very vintage. Yeah.
Iconic though. Very iconic. So yeah, audio seems perfect, very crystal clear. You've been seen jamming on Instagram with my buddy Sierra Levesque. And for those who don't know who she is, she's a very ambitious up-and-comer. I do encourage you to check her out. As a seasoned player, what would you say is the most exciting aspect of seeing new players kind of blossom into their own style?
Say that one more time. I suck, I'm sorry.
What would you say is the most exciting aspect of seeing new players blossom onto the scene?
Yes.
Sierra, because I shouted out Sierra.
Yeah. So what is it? Just everything. Just seeing them get better. When you see them growing as a songwriter, as a performer, and just getting technically more proficient. Just when you see everything just escalating and growing, and when you see people taking notice and really caring, and when you see them getting fans and doing stuff. I've had some wonderful students over the years that have gone on to do some wonderful things. Sierra is one of them. She's doing great stuff. She's going to be opening a festival coming up in early November in Canada. Really cool festival called Blue Feather.
Yeah.
And there's another student of mine named Tom Monda. He's a guitarist of a band called Thank You Scientist. And I used to teach him years ago, and we're still great friends, such a wonderful guy and incredible band. Yeah.
Yeah, we're actually going to talk about his band a little bit later in this interview. So that's cool that you brought him up. But yeah, I mean, between Sierra and some of the other people that you've helped mentor, they're definitely climbing those industry ladders so proficiently and so quick. And you know, watching Sierra's journey, I've just been so proud of her, like with the Nancy Wilson performance too. Like that was just incredible and so well deserved. But back to your gear, I want to hear about your wacky double neck guitar. Tell me about that. Is it for sale anywhere, and how is that made? I'm sure a lot of people want to hear a little refresher on the double wacky neck.
The double neck is always in arm's reach. So this thing, yes.
Yep, that
Yes,
baby.
whole lot of guitar, yeah. So what we have here, it is from a company called Vigier, V-I-G-I-E-R. There's the V up there. And it's Patrice Vigier from France. And it is named after him. And they started the company around 1980. And I've been with them since 1997, playing pretty much exclusively their electric guitars. And they're the ones that came up with the fretless. And I remember going to the first NAMM show with them in '98. And I saw at the booth, they had the fretless hanging up. And I freaked out. I was like, why didn't you tell me you make fretlesses? And I could still remember Patrice, like this frustrated sigh. He's like, we've been making them for 18 years and we've sold only 4 of them in 18 years. Nobody wants them. It's like, I want them. Yeah, so I started playing them and using them more and more and more. And finally, it reached the point I was using it so much that I really needed a way to be able to access it, not fretted or fretless, but be able to have both in a song and play both at once. So in 2009, they started making these double necks. So let me get far back so you can kind of see it a little better. So it has, oh, this thing is heavy. So it has DiMarzio tone zone and chopper on both sides there. This is the pickup, no, the neck selector. This is bottom neck, both, this one. Then you have a 5-way toggle switch, just a volume knob, no tone. And it's, the 5 settings are, this is my workout, this is good. This bridge pickup as a single coil, these 2 together, these 2 out of phase, and just this one. I'm putting this down now. Okay. Woo! Good. And, yeah, the fretless you play, and let me see if I can get a little bit of sound up here. In mixing mode, I'm at the point where I'm micro mixing everything, where I'm hearing like a 1/4 dB difference between this and that, and it's at that psychotic point. All right, we got sound. So, delay on it. So everything is going to be delayed, unfortunately, because I have this thing that's, you know what, let me just switch this so that it doesn't have that happening there. All right, this is going to take a second. I'll put that on instead. We wait. Okay, almost there. Loading up Cubase. What do you use to record?
Cubase.
Yes. Good.
Dude, I feel like I've heard of like a few other that use Cubase, but it's a good system. It's kind of complex in the beginning, but I'm still learning myself. It's a lot to record at home, but it's good.
Oh yes, fantastic. My favorite of all of them. I started using it back in 1999, and wow. Cubase was one of the first ones to have 24-bit while they were all 16, and they did this tape saturation emulation kind of thing that just changed everything, where all the 16-bit recordings were these small sterile kind of sounds. And then Cubase, it came out with this one version in around 2000, 2001, where you just press that 24-bit tape saturation button and your whole mix is just like, and it's just right in your face, and everything was just, it sounded like fat squashed tape. And is the greatest thing. There we go. Good. So now we have a fretted neck, as you know.
Yeah.
And then the fretless, you play sort of like a slide, but just imagine using your fingertips as the slide. So you're gonna go exactly where the fret would be, and everything is along the direction of the string. Like you don't bend the string or anything like that. You're vibrato and everything is like that.
Yeah.
And with practice, you could get chords down and just getting the shape right, which I am not going to right now because all I've been doing is staring at a computer for the past, I don't know how long. Yeah, a little out of tune there, but that's the idea.
Like, is that for, or like, do you have a line of them for sale? I'm not saying I want to buy your guitar right now, but.
Yeah, these are available, and there are some crazy people around the world that have gotten them. I know a lot of people that have these and play them and use them. There was a guy, Thomas Cesario, lives around Nice, and I've known him for a long time. He has one, and he had a long braided beard, and he was playing with Chris Holmes, who used to be in Wasp, and everybody thought it was me because he was playing this guitar. He's a guy with a beard and braided beard, and so everyone thought, they would watch videos and say, "Dude, you play with Chris Holmes?" And it's like, "No, that's my friend Tom." And I know a few people that have these guitars. The problem is the guitar is more recognizable than the player a lot of times, like with the fretless neck on top. So, yeah.
Like one of your things, you know? It's like super cool.
Oh, and one thing about it, yes, one special thing about it is it has a magnetized hole right here that has a thimble in it that I use to access the notes beyond the fretboard. So once you just, like you go bump, 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 you're out of notes, and then you hit this.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the rest of the notes. And you can just
awesome.
And play from both directions of the string. Instead of playing a note here, you're going to hit it here by shortening the length the same amount, but from this direction. Like that. So that's what I do with that. Yes.
One of the coolest guitars I've seen easily, for sure. One of the coolest. Somebody commented, $8,000 guitar? Okay, so a little out of my budget, but I could save up. I could.
It's not cheap. Yeah, I mean they really they make the most incredible playing guitars, and they're very particular, and they get everything. I mean, they do things like they even just, once they have the wood, they just let it sit and age for 4 months before they even start to cut it and stuff like that. Like they are so
precise.
Yeah, and so you add to that what used to be a euro to dollar, where the euro was more, and taxes and all kinds of things and shipping costs. So it was pretty expensive. It might be a little cheaper now as exchange rates change internationally. Yeah.
Nice. That is epic. I will put that on my list of dream guitars then. So yes, what is, or who is on your list of guitar heroes that you've always kind of drawn inspiration from, or are there any like guitarists that you'd like to shout out that you think have a really dope sound right now?
There are so many, so many. Well, the inspirations I had, it always started off with music and bands, not really guitar players. I was young when I started. I was 6, and back then I wasn't really paying attention to guitarists or guitar heroes. It was more just, there were bands I like, Kiss, Led Zeppelin, the Beatles, The Who, AC/DC, you know, all the 60s, 70s stuff. That's what I grew up on. And all of those guitar players, doesn't matter how technical or anything they were, it's the music they were making with their teammates. That's what I liked. So for me, when I started, I didn't want to be a fancy, you know, none of that crap. I just wanted to be in a band that made songs that people like. And my early guitar heroes were the usual people. Brian May, Angus, Ace Frehley,
Yeah.
all the Hendrix,
Jimmy
all
Page.
of those people. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yep,
Gilmore.
dude.
Died.
Yeah, every time you start talking, I quickly run and I hit my mute button because
Oh,
that seems to be what's keeping you from dropping out. So I got to keep my finger close to it. So yeah, all of that. And then once it started becoming more 80s flashy guitar stuff, the usual. Vai, Malmsteen, Satriani, all the Shrapnel cast of characters. A lot of I was on that label, so a lot of my label mates, so damn good. Yeah, Paul Gilbert. I mean, it's a long list. Pretty much, most people would have that same list too. And there's
oh
some
yeah.
incredible guitar players out there like Matthias Eklund and Christophe Godin. There's so many great ones. Like we said, Tom Mondo before. Oh, that dude from Russia. He uses a thimble now too. We played together in 2018 at a guitar festival that Diodario was throwing in Moscow. And I'm having a brain fart. How could I forget his name? Oh, this is terrible. All right, this is going to kill me. I am not continuing until find his name. All right. We were on this album together, Observables.
Mac.
Guthrie. Oh, and Guthrie Govan, of course. Now, Guthrie and I, we were pen pals when we were teenagers in the late 80s and like early 90s. And we would just write to each other. This is before we had email or anything. And we would just send handwritten letters and cassettes of our demos and just writing out, here's what I did in this part, and that kind of stuff. And we would just do that. And then when I started touring in Europe, starting the later 90s, whenever I would come through the UK, I would always see him and we would jam. And yeah, so we've been friends a very, very long time. Max Ostro! Max Ostro, duh!
Some like comments going through and saying it was Max. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just COVID brain. I lost so many brain cells.
Oh.
And Chris Xenopoulos from South Africa, phenomenal player. Jack Gardner, phenomenal player. There's so many great players, like the next generation of just phenomenal players. Yeah.
Yeah, absolute. There's just like the level of skill now. So inspiring, honestly. It keeps you on your toes.
That's great. Hello from Iran.
Yeah, hi.
Yes.
So, let's go melancholy. So the saddest song that you've ever written, back in January, it featured some beautiful violin from Thank You Scientist, and Ben Carras. Am I saying that right? Carras? Cool. It's evident that just a few notes in a solo can really tell a detailed story. So tell me how less can sometimes be more when it comes to writing an emotional piece.
Wow, we got people from Libya, Corsica. Cool. This is so cool. So yes, you know, they say less is more. It depends. It depends on the context.
Right.
The right amount of notes for the situation. If the pulse of the music is a certain thing, you don't necessarily go, or maybe. Really, it's whatever you want to do. But absolutely, the more space there is, the more a chance, like the note can sing. There's more of a chance for the note to sing, and just let it let it do its thing. So that. And in phrasing, just leaving a moment for the listener to absorb what just happened in that phrase. Usually in the past, I was always asked to do the craziest things I can do, and I would do that. And also just playing in a musical world where, not that more is more or less is more, but just, it's just a lot more faster playing of stuff. So a lot of metal. Metal is not always slow. A lot of times it's just reckless abandon and just, you know, an internal explosion of energy that you're letting out and
Right.
all that. So there's that. But as I get older and slower and grayer, that's, I'm leaving more room to just let notes sing a bit. Like the new album that I'm working on definitely is a lot more singable melodies and not just crazy shit. Yeah.
Refreshing because shred is great. You know, I've done a lot of shred collabs. I mean, I don't consider myself shreddy, but you know, the like Bradley Hall ones, etc. But I love listening to melodic music, if that makes sense. Stuff that's singable, that somebody can hum back to you. And I feel like a lot of your music has that quality. So you're definitely in that sense as well.
But now the other issue that I've always had is that I sing. So when I'm writing a song and I think of a singable melody, I end up just writing words to it and I sing it. So, and then there's a guitar solo, and that's where I just do, you know, crazier stuff. But even then in the guitar solos, the problem with flashy playing and technical playing is that it is a very strong spice, and a little goes a long way. So you can have a melodic solo and then just one moment where you go crazy, and it's almost like adding a whole bunch of hot sauce to the meal suddenly, and it's like, too much. And it overwhelms and overpowers the dish. So that's the thing about it, is using it sparingly, because a little goes such a long way with it. So that's the thing, is that I'll have, I mean, a lot of my old solos did have a lot of melody in them, but the moment of craziness that might happen in them tends to stomp on the rest. And that's just how it is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, somebody commented slower, really. Well, no, I know that Bumble is a prolific shredder, but kind of what I'm implying is that you have the ability to write singable riffs and then, you know, add that shred where it's necessary. Like you said, that flavor to the dish.
Yeah, you want it to be just like, yeah. It's a solo is just kind of like a little story that starts at one place and it builds and it builds and it reaches a point and then it comes down. And yeah,
right. Yeah.
Which the song also is, and the album is, and everything. Someone commented on Art of Anarchy. Yeah. Let's see. Gary Moore, Andy Timmons, Marty Friedman, they play tons of feeling, super melodic. Yeah.
I think
absolutely. And they're phenomenal players, and they phrase it nice. Their tone, I think my tone has improved over the years too, and a big part of that is actually the Line 6 Helix of all things.
You do the Helix too.
That's oh yeah.
Sorry, I got excited. I have a habit of getting excited.
No, that's a good thing. Get excited. Excitement is good. Yes, but I love the Helix.
I also use a Helix, so we're kind of using the same gear. That's neat. Yeah, because I'm a big Helix fan. I recommend that pedal to everybody.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It can do the impossible. It really can.
Wacky tones on.
So good. Let me mute this so you can speak.
Yeah, I mean, like with any gear, I would say Cubase, Helix, two great things. So that kind of ties into my next question of you being a very experienced producer. What's your best advice for players attempting to record their own music at home, especially for those who are self-taught and learning as they go, because it can be an endless battle, no matter how old you are, no matter how young. If you're recording at home, you know, you got to maybe work through some stuff. So if there's any advice, let us know.
Tons of advice. I I was a, God, the COVID fog sucks. Or what do you call it? When you're about to speak and then the word just disappears out of your brain and it takes 10 seconds to find it, that's the COVID thing.
Yeah, my mother had that thing too, the brain fog. It's bad. So do I, actually. So I understand.
At least that's my excuse. I'm really just an idiot. And I don't know words. Words are tricky.
I agree.
So, it's going to take 10 seconds and then it's going to come out of my head. This is why I'm like afraid to do interviews anymore, because this happens. Professor at SUNY Purchase College, teaching music production and all of that stuff. So I was teaching producing for a good 20 years. And then when touring was, there was a lot more touring and I was obligated to other bands and things. So I had to stop teaching there, but I was teaching, yeah. And that's what I taught. And advice for people just starting out: do it and do it and do it. Do tons of it. Every time you have a recording, call it a recording session, even though usually you think of playing when you're doing a recording session, but it's actually when you're engineering, that's a recording session too, or producing. Right. Every time you do one, you learn something new, you come up with more tricks, you find new ways of getting what you're looking for. The more you do it, the better you get, and just keep doing it. Don't put out music too quickly that you're doing yourself. I know you're proud. It's like, I did this all myself, but you want it to be up to a standard that people expect. So if it's not there yet, just keep working on it and bring in someone to help that has more of the experience, that can help you with the engineering and the mixing and all of that stuff, for sure. Yeah. One thing that I should say, this guy Vivek is really has a big crush on you. Anyway, yeah, don't read his comments though. He's got a long way to go. Yeah. So one thing that people recording themselves should get more into is understanding how the gear works, what it actually does. For example, a compressor. People are like, oh, you compress it and it makes it big. No, it squashes it down and makes it disappear if you use it the wrong way. Yes. So, for example,
oh, yeah, you might be muted.
I'm such a, oh, God damn. Anyway, I was just saying all this cool shit too. So anyway, I didn't even remember muting myself. This is why I stopped doing interviews. I need to just like be alone. I
can on my end.
Anyway, I'm not saying anything important. Next question.
Okay. Let's talk about shred, because there's like a lot of shred fans, I can tell. Some shreddier songs you enjoy playing include Planetary Lockdown. What are some techniques that you used while perfecting songs like these, or any techniques that you would suggest when it comes to getting really fast on the guitar?
Perfecting techniques always boils down to the same thing: the metronome. The metronome. It is not a tool of beginners. It's something you should be using all your life to work on stuff and to stay, to keep your place in a beat, to make sure you don't get in the habit of rushing ahead of it, things like that. So it's all just practicing with a metronome. Whatever it is you're working on, metronome, metronome, metronome. That's simple. That's it. Whatever it is you're working on.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. I do agree, I gotta say, because, forming your own style is important. Some people are like against the metronome for some reason, or not against it per se, but they're like, you should just kind of noodle and find your own style instead of locking yourself into a beat all the time. I kind of disagree, because I feel like you have to have that rhythm. You have to be locked in a way before you can kind of go on and start writing a bunch of your own stuff, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm articulating.
Totally, yeah. Now, the metronome is not for music where it means that a piece of music needs to be
Yeah, it's not, yeah.
throughout. I mean, it should flow and it should move in its tempo as well as its dynamics and everything if it's that kind of music. And like I just recorded a band, a phenomenal band called the Doties, and all their albums, I've done 2 of their albums so far, and never a click track ever. Just the drummer has a good feel, so they play in the same room, record them in the same room, eye contact, watching each other, and just going by the feel of the music. And if they did it to a metronome, it would lose so much of the humanity and the spirit and the realness of it and everything that you feel from music. In fact, Midnight Preacher's Owen was the engineer for their last album. He has this wonderful studio in the north part of Ireland, and that's where we recorded it. Yeah, he's a great engineer, a great studio, and a great friend. And he's a very talented musician himself. He's got a band called the Midnight Preachers. Killer band, really good stuff. Yeah.
Midnight Preacher. Uh, Jason Sebek, I like what he said here. He said, time and practice for technique, focus practice, not just jamming, will help you improve much faster. Yeah, it's a balance, you know. It's a balance. Everybody's got their own thing, but yeah, metronomes are good. They're good. They'll help you lock in, but no harm in just noodling either, you know? Good
Yeah,
stuff.
the metronome, I'll just say last thing, the metronome is a tool for gauging your practicing and everything. It's not necessarily something you play a gig to the same way you go to the gym, you lift weights to build the muscle for whatever you're going to do in life where you have to use those muscles. But it's the same kind of thing. It is a tool for exercise and practice and for getting your shit down. And you should never frown upon that. No.
Yeah, I want to take this time to say that I have one more question left for Bumblefoot, and he's given such wonderful answers, so thank you so much for doing this. If you guys would like to ask any questions, there is a question tab, so open to take some. There's a question tab, or you can just write them in the comments below. So yeah, just we'll scroll through them and see what the fans have to say, you know?
Holy shit, Jason Beeler is here. Jason Beeler, do you know Jason Beeler?
I don't think so. No.
Look him up. You'll be blown away.
The name does sound...
He's incredible. Just, he's incredible. That's it, incredible.
Awesome. Well, hi, Jason.
Yeah.
What is... Somebody asked how heavy your guitar was, the one that you picked up earlier.
I think it's around 15 pounds or so, yeah.
A bit heavy, a bit...
It's the exercise. Wrist.
Guys, yeah.
This, that, yeah.
Let's see if I can pronounce it right. Jeff Scott Soto helped you do some guitar clinics. And you've also worked alongside Herman Lee of Dragon Force to do some live stream fundraisers. And earlier in this interview, you were talking about Guns N' Roses and doing some charitable things, helping the community. Will there be more collaborations like these coming up in 2023 and beyond, perhaps with Herman Lee, or any touring guitar clinics that we can see you at? Like, what's the news? What's up?
So yeah. I was doing, before the pandemic, I was just living out of a suitcase and constantly doing these one-man show kind of things where I'm singing and playing and this and that. And sometimes they're more teachy and clinicky. And I would do them with Jeff. We do those together too, and that's always fun. In fact, Jason Beeler is pretty much Mr. Soto's right-hand guy. And the two of them do all these acoustic shows together. There's great stuff together these duo shows that they do that must see. Phenomenal. So that, and then the Herman Lee thing, yeah. He raised a lot of money and help and things for Jason Becker. And God bless him. Yeah, he's a wonderful guy, and man, can he play. And just a sweet guy. And I'm so happy that I could be part of what he was doing and contribute in some way. Yeah. So what will I be doing in the future? I don't know. At this point, I'm just trying to finish up an album that I have been working on for what's going on years now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting there little by little. I'm at the point where I have half the album where I'm sort of micro mixing it, meaning I'm down to that point of listening to the same songs every day 20 times and hearing tiny little things and making tiny little changes. And that's taking up all of my life instead of finishing the rest of the album. And it's getting there though. I'm happy with the way it's coming out, and I hope people like it. Yeah.
Nice. Somebody said you both had a video clip being in a straitjacket. Is that true? Were you in a straitjacket for a video clip? Oh, he is.
Hugo! Oh, wait a minute. We're going way back. All right. Well,
I was.
okay. Now, okay. Oh, it's you from Armenia. Hug, hug, hug.
Oh.
Yes. Sierra. What's up, Sierra? So, yes. The Straitjacket. So I did an album that came out in 2005 called Normal. And when we toured, our crew would be wearing these blue orderlies kind of outfits, and we had straitjackets. And we stayed in character throughout the whole tour where we'd be in straitjackets. So if we were in the van driving to the next town and had to stop for lunch somewhere, they would carry us in all wearing straitjackets and sit us down at the booth. And like we just constantly did this whole tour in straitjackets. We would start every show where they would bring us out onto the stage, take us out of the straitjackets, put our instruments on us. We would play the whole show just nonstop, blah, 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 blah. And last song, when we finish, they take away our guitars, put us back in the straitjackets and take us away. Yeah.
That is another level of commitment that I appreciate. That is staying in character to the max.
And I remember I had to do a guitar clinic in between shows. So while doing the clinic, the 3 band members were on the stage behind me in the straitjackets, just rolling around on the floor for an hour and a half. And people were getting so annoyed by them because it was so distracting. And I loved it. It was great.
That's tour gold right there. Oh, there's actually quite a few questions in the questions tab. I hope I didn't lose them. Yep. Rem medium says, where was the video for I Don't Know Who to Pray to Anymore shot? It's a great song.
Nancy, what's up? Oh, so many familiar names. Jeremy. I could name everybody's names here. It's like, you, hello everybody. So that one was filmed in 3 locations, actually. It started off in northern part of Israel by the Jordanian border in what is the most elaborate bathhouse of ancient Rome, and managed to get access there. It's the only video that was ever made there. And yeah, so recorded a bunch of stuff there, and then went to Ireland, to Owen, and that I mentioned before from the Midnight Preachers, and we shot a bunch of stuff on this hill, this 800-foot high hill. There's this 4,000-year-old ring fort there, and we filmed there, but it was so windy that the drone kept getting knocked down and gear would fall, and it turned out we couldn't really use the footage there. So from there, went to Croatia and filmed everything else in around Split, Croatia, in that area, the fortress of Klis, and the palace there, I forget the name, Diocletian Palace, something like that. And we filmed everything there. And while I was filming in the other places, the director, phenomenal director named Johan Kociak, he's also a great guitar player, plays in a real heavy band out there, good stuff. Act of Denial, it's called. So he was working on the rest of the stuff. He built, was it 7 different settings? To just, like, one was like a classroom, one was someone's house, one was a hospital. He built them all in this arena. and was filming everything with like 50 different people and all this stuff. And then the last 2 days I flew there after we shot all of that stuff and shot all the playing footage. So it was a massive undertaking to make that video. Yeah.
Sounds like it, dude. Sounds like.
But it came out good.
Yeah, I have seen like a few clips here and there, but I gotta go back and like refresh my mind and watch that whole thing.
And the guy standing, there was at the end a guy that's he's on this big bridge very high up, and that was real. He was actually standing on the outside hanging on that bridge on that video if people watch it. Yeah.
Yeah. Will you collab with Sierra soon? Or can you please?
Well, so I've been giving online lessons to Sierra for a good 2 years now. And we finally got to do lessons here in New Jersey for a full day of like 12 hours of just playing. And that's where we made all those videos together. So we were just making a ton of videos that she put on Instagram of different things just for fun. But yeah, she's so super talented. And her whole family is just so wonderful. I just love them all. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. I might like put together a little collab and maybe we could have a group together. I don't know. Virtually.
I've shied away from collabs, as you know, because you've invited me before. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing the collabs. And honestly, a big part of that was because of the COVID fog thing. Like, I couldn't. It's hard to get anything done. It's just harder to focus. And so I've had to just stop a ton of other things so that I could just try and stay focused on my album that's still taking like way too long. So yeah.
Sometimes you got to just lock in, you know, but the fact that you support your students like this and you shout them out, like that's awesome. And that's enough on its own. You do a lot and that's incredible. So I don't want to miss any questions. Let's see. Vortex Afternoon says, Ron, will you come visit KO Town again? I missed your workshop here like a chop. And then somebody asked, Derek asked, why fretless? Maybe I missed it, but why fretless? So 2 questions.
I'm trying to find Vortex's thing. So where did he say? K-Town?
KO Town, I think.
KO.
Like C-A KO Town. He said he missed your or something.
Where is KO Town?
He's like,
I don't know where that is.
No, I got you. Hang on. KO. It's in the capital. Maybe he meant South Africa.
Oh wait, did you mean Cape Town?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played in. See, that's where I first got COVID. I think it was late October, like the big one that really like just decimated planet Earth. The version before that, the one where people in Wuhan were just like falling down the stairs and while walking downstairs, like that one. That's the one I got. I was flying across Africa and I was going to South Africa from Dubai. And a few days later, I got some kind of nasty flu that just kicked in real quickly. And I did a show with it and it was tough. And then right after that, I went straight to Eastern Canada. And I had no voice. I couldn't even speak. And I was doing shows. In order to do shows, what I was doing is I couldn't sing. So I got an app that you type in text and it sounds like Stephen Hawking saying it back. So I was saying how I caught Ebola from a penguin and like I'm just making up these weird stories and this thing, and it was actually really funny and probably more entertaining than if I sang. So I'd play guitar, and after I left there, a few people said, I don't know what you got, but I caught it from you. It's kicking my ass. I ended up sick for like 7 weeks before it was really out of my system. Right after that, I actually ended up going to China and Korea. And that's when it really started kicking in. That was November of 2019. So then, okay, done Then January, February, touring with Sons in the US. People are getting sick. Wife gets COVID. All I got from being around everyone that was getting COVID and had COVID, all I got was this feeling like, I feel like I'm about to catch a cold. And it's probably because I already had antibodies from whatever I had in late October. Like I was patient zero, bringing it to Canada. And so then, okay, so I thought I kind of had COVID, but it just seemed very mild, incredibly mild compared to what everyone else was getting. But a few months later, that's when I started realizing that I can't think. The COVID fog kicked in and I had no energy, and it felt like there was a 50-pound weight sitting on my chest all the time. Like I couldn't sleep on my back anymore. And every time I inhaled, take a deep breath, it felt like I just went, like it felt like you're only getting half the air. And it was just impossible to get anything done. I remember I was working on Ellison's solo album, and I was talking to the other guitar player. We were Skyping, talking about the guitar parts. And I remember while he was talking, I just said to him, I was like, stop. I was like, I can't think. It's like everything you're saying, like, it's like, I'm not understanding your words. I can't fucking think. And I was freaking out. It's like, what the hell's wrong? And it was before anyone knew what COVID fog was. This was like April, May of 2020. And it lasted for 2 years. And I saw heart doctors and lung doctors, and they're all like, you're fine. We don't know what it is. You seem fine to us. And then I got COVID again in late June of this year, early July. It beat the shit out of me. I got it so, and I'm triple vaxxed and everything, but it got me really bad. I was testing positive for 11 days. I was messed up for a long, yeah. And yeah, but when it faded off, all of like the COVID fog stuff started fading off, and it's obviously not done, but the chest thing is gone. So COVID number 2 cured COVID number 1, and I don't have the weight on the chest thing, like I can breathe again and everything. But I'm still foggy when I have to use my brain. I try not to use my brain very much, not very often. But that's actually what makes doing this a lot tougher, because it's tougher.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped doing a lot of things. Yeah.
Somebody said positive though. They said, I hope Bumblefoot will do more interviews again in the future because he is a wealth of knowledge and an amazing communicator. So there you go.
Now I just say and search for words. So yeah, that's all gone.
Yeah.
Downhill from here.
The brain fog can easily be one of the most frustrating parts of COVID experience. Because yeah, I mean, like I said, my mom go through that too, and like you might have it for a while, you know, who knows? They don't really know, like they're still studying it. So it's really hard to say, but
yeah, we're learning as we go. But that was the toughest thing about doing the South American tour with Sons of Apollo, because I really forgot, and now you're just getting old. Yeah, that too, that's not helping at all. But I couldn't remember the songs. I had to like relearn the songs where I never forgot them, and suddenly I just didn't know them anymore. And it was really tough to relearn songs. And what would happen is I'd be playing, and the same way, like with COVID fog, like you're in the middle of a sentence and then suddenly you hit this brick wall where you just, you know, can't find the word. Well, the same thing happens with the guitar playing. So anytime I really needed 100% of my brain, that would happen. And I would just forget in the middle of a solo. I was like, where am I? What planet am I on? What's my name? You know? And that was tough.
yeah. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you're good and you're still still an amazing.
Well, I'm not dead yet. Yeah. Soon, but not yet.
I'm gonna take one. Someone said that's what menopause is like.
Well, I have menopause then. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Menopause.
Let's see. There's one person that left multiple questions. So for this last question, I suppose I will definitely shoot one over from them. This is from ThomThom7759. They said, Bumblefoot, have you ever thought to make a song wait, that doesn't make sense. Of an astrocat who travels the universe on a sofa.
Simon, okay. He's talking about my cat. Yeah, I made an Instagram account of my cat called Simon in Space, where he's in his little cow bed, but just flying through space.
Nice. He said for it solo a guitar that.
So yes, Simon in Space. Yes, that's what I live for now. I used to live for playing shows. Now I live for playing with my cat Simon.
Freaking love cats here. So yes, I believe that is probably. I don't have any other questions in my question box. So I guess I have had a snazzy chat with Mr. Ron.
Snazzy it was. Yes, I'm sorry I'm so like choppy with the way it's right now. But
I feel like you're going to watch it back and realize you weren't as choppy as you think. And that happens to me all the time, you know? So you're all good.
well, I appreciate you having me on and taking the time and your thoughtful questions and everybody's questions and for tuning in. Thank you all so much. Yes.
Thank you for tuning in. A lot of people want you in Europe as well. I saw a lot of Europe fans. So sending love to Europe. Cheers, cheers. Thank you for tuning in. It was good talking to you, man.
Thanks so much. You all have a great one.
All right, you too.
Bye-bye.
Take care.